Good afternoon, I'm Malcolm Jordan and this is your midday news fix for Friday the 20th of September. It's been revealed a backseat passenger has been a victim of a stabbing in Christchurch. A man's in a critical condition after being attacked by a driver at the intersection of Clarence Street and Blenheim Road just after 5:30 yesterday afternoon. The alleged attacker was on his own in the car and the victim was a rear seat passenger in another car of 4 adults. The vehicles were stopped at red lights when the incident unfolded. The man then fled north on Clarence Street towards Riccarton Road. Police would like to speak to anyone who witnessed this incident or has footage of it. The government says it's putting people's property rights at the centre of its plans to reform the RMA. It's developed 2 laws to replace the legislation, which has been tinkered with dozens of times since its inception in 1991. Political editor Jason Walls has more.
The thrust of the new provisions is eliminating the superfluous objection process, whereby people or groups with nothing to do with construction activity can object to the development on private property. The scope of the resource management system will also be narrowed to focus on what the RMA ministers are describing as the more significant impacts on the environment.
The new RMA legislation will be introduced and passed into law before the next election. Israel's unleashed a fresh wave of airstrikes on Lebanon, while the country reels from this week's fatal exploding devices attacks. At least 35 people are dead and thousands are injured from devices like pagers, walkie-talkies, phones and laptops exploding. The Finance Minister says unemployment is set to keep rising, but the government's confident it can keep moving people into jobs. Forecasts show those on the job seeker benefit are expected to peak at 214,000 next January, an increase of more than 10,000 on the last set of forecasts in the budget. The government set a target of reducing the number by 50,000 by 2030. Nicola Willis told Mike Hosking she's focused on how many people are exiting the job seeker benefit and going back into work.
That number is higher this year than it was last year on a month-on-month basis.
Sailings on Blue Bridge's Connemara are cancelled today after the ship lost power last night. The ship's now berthed in Wellington Harbour. The ship and its 88 passengers were assisted back with tugboats after it lost power near Sinclair Head. Maritime New Zealand is investigating the incident. Ongoing maintenance is hurting Air New Zealand's bottom line. The 51% government-owned airline has 10 of its aircraft out of action due to engine issues. Air New Zealand Chief Executive Greg Foran says this, paired with an increasingly competitive market, means international routes aren't earning enough to cover the cost of capital. He says it's had a significant impact.
Previous year we made $585 million. This last year we've come in with, $222 million.
To sport, Marcus Armstrong will join the Meyer Shank racing team next IndyCar season. He will drive with Felix Rosenqvist. Wallabies coach Joe Schmidt concedes he will consult mental notes on his former All Blacks charges heading into tomorrow's Bledisloe Cup opener in Sydney. Live golfers will be eligible for the Ryder Cup and the US PGA Championship after the PGA of America added the circuit to their list of approved tours. And Paul Cole has won his quarterfinal to advance to the last 4 at the latest Squash World Tour event in Paris. I'm Malcolm Jordan. That's your latest news fix. We'll be back with the next update at 5 p.m. from the Newstalk ZB newsroom.